we're going to talk about two of the most common ways people get tripped up and stalled and how you can overcome them. I'm willing to bet that you are looking back at this past year with a lot more judgment and regret than you are pride. You're being judgy about the things that you said that you were going to do way back in January that are still left unfinished. There are probably some things that you feel like you're not any closer to achieving or reaching than you were a few months ago. And it's okay. It really is okay, because there are a lot of things that cause us to be stuck and stalled in the process of reaching our goals. We're going to talk about two of them today. We're going to talk about two of the most common ways people get tripped up and stalled and how you can overcome them. So let's get into it. One of the ways that we tend to get stalled in our progress is by procrastinating. There is really a lot of shame around procrastinating because people automatically assume that procrastination equals laziness. We think if we procrastinate that we're being lazy, but procrastination is not always caused by laziness. Procrastination is caused by the negative thoughts we have about the task that we're avoiding that create these negative feelings, which in turn lead to inaction. So contrary to popular belief, procrastination is not a time management issue. It's really a mindset, emotional regulation issue. So what happens is you have thoughts about doing a task. It could be posting on social media or finishing your work project or making offers to sell your services or product. And those thoughts about that task could potentially create anxiety, self-doubt, frustration, and even confusion. But this isn't the problem. Most people think that the act of procrastination itself is the problem, but what the real problem is not being aware of what the root cause is, which are your thoughts. It's always your thoughts. It always goes back to thoughts. But if you're not aware of that, if you're not aware that the root cause is your thoughts, you can't manage it and you can't change it, and you'll be stuck in a loop of procrastination. So while it can be sometimes we do procrastinate just because of the nature of the task itself, like cleaning the kitchen or doing the laundry. More often than not, it's related to the deeper underlying thoughts that we have about the task and that we have about ourselves, about our own abilities. We put off doing things because of our own self-doubt, our own unworthiness, and sometimes just lower self-esteem. So we'll have thoughts like, what are people going to think? Or I don't know how to do this. Or this isn't good enough. Or even I'm not good enough. Those are the thoughts that create these feelings. So instead of doing the task or thinking these really painful thoughts about ourselves, we lean into the relief of doing it later, which doesn't feel quite as bad in the moment, right? Because we're not saying we're not going to do it. We're just going to do it later. But all this does is breed self-distrust, because you start to tell yourself this is just who you are. You're just a person who doesn't get things done. You're just a person who always puts things to the side. But here's what I want you to do instead. The first thing I want you to do is give yourself some grace, because there's just no benefit in you beating up yourself and unleashing your inner mean girl. It's just counterproductive in every single way. If you notice that you're procrastinating and you beat yourself up, it's only going to help you procrastinate more. Second thing I want you to do is to challenge the negative thoughts. Those thoughts that are reminding you of how this is how you are. You're always doing this. You're just being lazy. You're just not getting things done. I want you to counter those thoughts. I want you to create a list of times where you have completed tasks that you didn't want to do or that seemed difficult. The third thing I want you to do is to take the toddler approach. Anytime you feel the urge to put off doing something that you've set out to do, the best thing to do is to ask yourself really great questions like why and what. Anybody who's ever met a toddler or a small child knows that all they do is ask questions. You tell them something, it's like, why? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? That's what I want you to start doing. So if you have a thought like, this is too difficult, I want you to think, well, what if it wasn't difficult? What if I didn't think this? What might I do? What are some other options, right? And then think about the thought, I don't know how to do this. How many times have you started something new? How many times, think about the first time you went to school or started to drive. You figure things out. You're a person who can figure things out. You're a person who can do difficult things. You're a person who gets it done. It's a very different mindset than telling yourself, I don't know what to do. I'm confused. I'm not sure. You have a history of figuring things out. You just got to find it. The next thing I want you to do is to take the next best step. This means action, because undoubtedly what's going to happen when you start asking really good questions of your brain will provide you lots of options. And the next thing that will happen is you'll get stuck in confusion. Well, what am I supposed to do now? What happens next? I want you to give yourself permission to move forward by pushing past, I don't know. Because your brain's going to be like, we have all these options. I don't know what we should do next. Push past that, because it's a stall technique, right? Another thing I want you to do is to get rid of your shaky values. After you push past your I don't know, shaky values happen when you say you want one thing, but your values and your actions actually say that you want the opposite of that. Now, this requires a deep level of honesty, because it is kind of painful to admit, yeah, I said I wanted this one thing, but everything I'm doing says the opposite of that. Sometimes it might be something out of your control. So I want you to learn how to distinguish if it's out of your control or if it's you. Waiting to get your degree to practice, that's out of your control. Waiting to get a loan, or waiting for, a certain certification because you need it in order to practice. Those things are out of your control. But there are some things that are in your control that you might not be fully paying attention to. So once you eliminate all of that, you get the opportunity to take a really long, hard look at yourself to see where you are stalling your progress. Your actions are going to show whether you value your goal or the thing that you're doing more. So you might be valuing other people's opinion more. You might be stalled because you are waiting for someone to give you external validation, for somebody to give you approval, their seal of approval, or for somebody to get on board with your goal and your vision. So if you're stalling because of that, you value their opinion over your goal. Or it might be that you value your image over your goal, because you've always been successful and you've always been really good at everything that you do. And so starting something new might mean that you risk being not so good at something. Maybe you're valuing your titles over your goal. You've been a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, a pharmacist for years, and that's what everybody knows you about. It's your title, and now you want to start a nonprofit. Now you want to be a writer. Now you want to open a bakery, and it throws you off. So you might be valuing that title over going for your goal. You might be valuing your self-image. If you feel like you've always been a behind-the-scenes introvert and your goal is something that would require you to be out front and you're not doing it, you might be valuing that title. Or you could be valuing your money over your goal. You need help to build your website. You don't know how to do that. You need help to try to figure out how to flourish going towards your goal, but you're valuing your money over paying somebody to help you. So your actions are always going to tell you the truth. And I really think the biggest shaky value of them all, which is really difficult to admit, is that you may be valuing your comfort over reaching your goal. Our brains crave comfort and ease. It isn't easy to override that natural programming. So you have to look at the progress that you're making or that you're not making towards your goal. Where are you choosing comfort over your goal? Where are you avoiding something uncomfortable over your goal? And sometimes that could be as simple as just not doing anything at all, because the mere thought of stepping out of your comfort zone is terrifying. So what should you do instead? The first step is you got to admit to this. You have to admit that these things are true for you. You don't have to tell everybody else, because it's a tough pill to swallow to admit that we're valuing what we don't want over what we're saying that we really want. No matter what your words are, your actions are always going to tell you what is more important to you. But until you come to grips with that, you'll keep trying to solve for a problem that's not actually the problem. You're going to grit your teeth and use sheer willpower versus addressing your mindset. Once you've done that, your job is to just create a standard for who you are becoming. Once you deal with that and figuring out where you're choosing value, where you're valuing comfort and all those other things, then you create a standard for who you are. In order to create that, you have to look towards the future you, the future that you want to have, the life that you want to create for yourself. Your job is to know every single detail of who that woman is that is living that life that you want, and to begin to make choices as if you were her already. This is the blueprint for you becoming the absolute best version of yourself. To act as if you are already there in every decision, in every action, in every thought. This is exactly why I created the Dangerous Woman Manifesto. There's a reason that journaling and affirmations and creating vision boards are all so powerful. They take what we imagine in our minds and bring it into reality, into existence, on paper, on vision boards, in the words that we say out loud. There is so much power in your words. Your words will either build you up or they're going to tear you down. Your words become your reality, and you will quite literally, over time, become exactly who you say you are. The Dangerous Woman Manifesto allows you to claim right now the type of woman you want to be day in and day out, and practice it until it becomes your identity. It is who you are. It is the declaration of your intentions and your motives, a playlist of who you're going to become every day and how you're going to operate as your highest self, no matter what is thrown at you on any given day. It's almost like embedding a script into your subconscious mind that is going to motivate you to take action, intentional action, and overcome any level of resistance you're going to feel throughout the day. This is life. We're humans. It happens. It's going to help you laser focus and stay away from daily distractions, or know how to get back on track. It's going to help you break free from negative thought patterns and replace them with a more refreshed attitude towards your belief system about who you are and what is possible for you. It's going to help you control your emotions and help you be more confident and positive, not ignoring your emotions, but controlling them. So I want you to print the Dangerous Woman Manifesto out. I want you to put it on your screensaver. I want you to use it as wallpaper, put it on your mirror. I want you to see this thing every day. And I want you to add to it. Add to the Dangerous Woman Manifesto things that you specifically want to see in your life. And I want you to see this every day because it is so powerful. This is eventually who you're going to become. You're going to look up one day and be like, I'm already her. So let's stop fighting so hard for our limitations in this next year. Let's stop listening to all the reasons we can't be the women that we know that we were called to be, and live the lives that we dream about living, where we feel fulfilled, purposeful, peaceful, and full of joy in every area of life. Notice I didn't say perfect and perfection. We're going to stop leaning on to society to tell us how much of our light we can shine. Oprah Winfrey once said, you don't become what you want, you become what you believe. Now is the time to reevaluate what you've been believing about yourself. So tell me, do you struggle with procrastination or shaky values, or both? I want you to reach out to me and let me know. You can shoot me a DM over on Instagram. You can leave a comment here, or you can come on over to Facebook to the How to Be a Dangerous Woman group, and we can continue the conversation there. If you found this information helpful, what are you waiting for? hit the subscribe button so you can get more tips and strategies on how to be the best version of yourself every week, because that's what we're doing here. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.